All right, welcome to part 2 of our free agent discussion. It is the early morning of July 2nd. A lot of the deals have been made. Let's continue our discussion. I'll link to part 1 in the upper right-hand corner if you missed it. I want to start off this video by talking about everything that the Edmonton Oilers did. I thought they had maybe the strongest free agency out of any team. First of all, they kept a couple of their veterans in the form of Corey Perry on a 1-year deal and Adam Henrique on a 2-year deal. That Henrique won at $3 million per. I really like that. But the even bigger pickup for me, Jeff Skinner, $3 million as well. You know, he's a goal scorer, pretty much nothing else. But he scored 25 on Buffalo last year, 35 the year before that. I'm very curious to see what kind of numbers he'll put up playing within that high-powered Oilers offense. I also really like the addition of Victor Arvidsson at $4 million. That'll be some good depth for the team, and honestly, I really like what the Oilers did, especially getting rid of that Jack Campbell contract as well. That contract very well could have been the difference between them winning and losing the Stanley Cup. Campbell now is with Detroit on a league minimum deal. All right, moving to another Canadian team. I thought the Leafs had a very mixed free agency. First of all, the big deal, Chris Tanev. They had to trade for his signing rights, then signed him for a 6 by $4.5 million deal with a full no-move clause. He'll be 41 at the end of that 6th and final season, and I really do not like this contract. This is so much term for a good defenseman, but one who's injury-prone. Elliot Friedman pointed out that there's 80% in bonuses. I initially thought they did this for a bit of cap protection in case he doesn't play later on, but that only plays out in the case where a player is 35 in the June before the contract starts, which Tanev will not be. He's 34. So all this really does is make the contract more difficult to buy out because of the way bonuses work with cap buyouts. So this is a really ugly contract. I guess the Leafs are hoping that either the cap inflates enough by the time that he's later on that the contract doesn't look so bad, or that he goes on LTIR given his injury history. But yikes. Interesting things are going on for the Leafs in goalie land. However, they signed Stolarz for a 2-year, $2 million deal. Quite like that one. Stolarz, I thought, looked great last year, stepping in at times for Bob. They also re-signed Joseph Woll at 3.6, so they're definitely going to be going for a goaltending tandem, a 1A and 1B. Pretty common in the NHL nowadays. I like it a lot less when it comes to playoff time, but I thought Woll looked good in the postseason this year, so very curious to see how this works out. The Leafs lose Bertuzzi, and I think probably are happy not to have to match the 5.5 Chicago's paying him, but they do hold on to Max Domi, who signed a 4-year contract with a 3.75 AAV, which I think is quite team-friendly. The Leafs also added a lot to their D-line. Hakanpää at 1.5. Tanev, as mentioned. Oliver Ekman-Larsson. This one is a bit weirder for me. He's at 3.5. He's getting a bit, I think, of Stanley Cup inflation. He's probably going to be a third-pair D-man. Then Liljegren also got extended 2 years, $3 million. I think the Leafs want to see how his game changes and hopefully improves under a new coach. Man, there's a lot to get to. We might have to make a part 3. The Montreal Candiens emulated the Devils with Hughes and signed Slavkovsky. I can say his name more clear than that. Slavkovsky to an 8-year deal worth just under $8 million. Obviously, this is a big risk, but I mean, if this works out, this will be so good for Montreal, and the core of their team is now locked up for the next half-decade. Speaking of team-friendly deals, Sam Reinhart signed an 8-year deal with the Panthers, $69 million. That's just over 8.5 a year. And I mean, the dude just scored 57 goals last season. Will he duplicate that? Probably not, but I certainly suspect he'll be a point-a-game player or better. And he obviously just had a good playoffs as well. This is not nearly all the news. It's all I can cover right now. If there's a specific trade or extension or free agent signing you want me to cover, please let me know. That's all I've got time for right now, though. I look forward to reading your comments down below.